Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a FreeCAD video, and it's going to be sort of an update to my Sketcher Shapes Workbench. Now, before I get started, let me tell you that the Sketcher Shapes Workbench is an exercise in code learning. So it's probably the worst way to code. It's probably very difficult and well, it's probably very annoying to use because things probably won't work, but you're welcome to try it. And it's on GitLab, and after I do this video, I'll upload this change. But I found myself using this shape more than a few times. You see the sketcher here. So I decided I was going to add it to my Shapes Workbench. Now, so far I do use these shapes every now and then, not a lot, but like if I'm making a case for something, I use this to make the 4 holes instead of or the 4 posts or 4 holes or whatever. I've used this a couple times. I don't remember what for. I use this quite a bit. It's a centered square. Although I've come up with I found a better way to center that's almost as easy as clicking that. And I use the others here and there. But I think I'll actually probably use this more than anything. I used the keyhole once or twice, but I imagine it, depending on what you're doing, it could be used a lot, especially woodwork. That's something people do in woodwork a lot. So anyway, let's get started with this. So basically, I've already created this. As you can see, the icon's already created. And I was going to do a video that was a code walk, sort of like a working session walkthrough. But it's really going to be an after the fact working session walkthrough because I kind of already done it. Next we'll do how to talk. So I'm going to bring up my combo view, and I think I set it off screen, so I got to redock it here. Ooh, that's a terrible place to dock your combo. There it is. Okay, so now I'm docked, and you can see some of the stuff there. So first, let me show you the Sketcher shapes in action. So that's something I need to change the tooltip. So these are just I'll get into that later. That has to do with the script that generated it. So just by clicking it, you get a completed sketch that has the shape. So now I do want to update this, so it will be a bit of working session. So let me walk through updating it. So I really want it to land centered. So let's do that. Let's bring it up. And I want it to have a construction line in the middle. And that's really for just one purpose. It's just so I can do this. Click it, and done. So, and I think the default should be a little smaller. It really depends on what you're doing. And let's make this. I'm going to make this 100. So let's make this 75. So I do want it to kind of look like what the icon shows. And let's make this 125. So who knows about the defaults, but something that the script does have included is, oops, I thought it had the name, it doesn't. Let me put in names and see what happens. Let's call this major radius, and we'll call this minor radius. I thought my script captured the names, but maybe I just didn't put them in. And let's call this centers offset. I don't know. I have no idea what that should be called. I wonder if this shape has a name. Probably does. But so I'm going to still select these 3 points and use the symmetry. Now, normally symmetry you select first, select second, select third, but it's been working differently for me. Oh, so it didn't work that way. So it's still. So I got it. I selecting them this way as a default, and I noticed today once I did it, and that wasn't working, so I tried it 1, 2, 3 instead of 1, 2, 3, and it worked. So that was interesting. That's my bird clock. At the hour I get a different bird. So that's what I want it to be. So at this point, excuse me there. So at this point, all I need to do is run my script. So let me close that, and let's bring it into view. So to run this script, what I'm doing is I'm going to get my macro, and I order my macros in folders so that it's a little bit easier to see, because your list will get long, because I pretty much keep every macro I write, even if they're crappy. So oops, So I want to go up. All right, so it's what it's done is let me go to my home folder. I keep my macros on Dropbox so I can get them from anywhere, you know, so if I change my computer, upgrade or whatever, I still have them. I don't have to like copy them over. And they're here in all right, so it's in my code. Probably shouldn't be showing all this. And FreeCAD and macro. So these are the categories I have, is you know, various different things I could think of. So code generators, I think, is where this one is. And you'll see, yep, there it is. So so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit it. Now it'd be excellent if I, you know, what I should do is have it as part of the workbench or something, but I don't use it that often. So let's minimize that. Actually, let me save my title screen. I'm gonna save this off because I need to start reusing those. Save as, and let's just call it title. Shouldn't be in there, but I'll move it later. Okay, so now we can close that. So all you have to do at this point is, and I recommend doing this for tasks that you do a lot. So with a sketch, now this might not work because it's an unnamed sketch, so it looks like it did. Or I mean an unnamed document. Sometimes you have to save these or save them with a name to get things to work. So what this did was it used the active document, I think. See if I can remember. And it saved, let's see. Yeah, so yeah, this was an attempt to like navigate whether it was active or not, but basically it saves it into this hard-coded path, which that should be something we changed, and it's just all this text, you know, that creates a class, in a real old school sort of code construction with prints. Still works. And then the final, so there's two sections, and it'll be more clear when we look at the class. It goes through the constraints and it goes through the geometry. So it loops through all the different types of geometries that I've encountered so far. So when I encountered something new, I think I probably got all the geometries, but I know there's a couple of constraints I don't have yet, or a couple of constraint modes, and it just adds it creates a list and then adds the list. Or actually, I guess it's an array, and then writes it to a file and saves the file. So let's go look at the file. So in my case, what it does is this is hard coded as well. Let's see, where does it save it? So it saves it to the workbench you describe. I've got that. That's also hard coded where it saves it. Sorry, I don't have. It's been a long time since I've used this. So let's go to that file. So it's Sketcher Shapes. So I think I have. Yep, I have that open. So and it saves it as test. So I do test cam shape. So you can look at that before it's going to be included into everything and see if it looks good. Now I know right away there's some issues with this. There's an extra space there, so I'll have to go back to the code and fix that. There's a tab, and this uses spaces instead of tabs. So let me do that. So they all need to be tabs, you know, because that's I think that's good. There might be and then also I have to update the script to not have prints without parentheses, because I did this in Python 2 and I was lazy. So let's search for prints, because I think there's more than one that has one that's not commented. Or maybe it's just that one. Print, it's commented. Okay, so I think we're good. So let's save this, and then I'll just delete this old one. You could copy paste it in, but I'm just going to delete that. And then I'll rename this one. I'll just take out the test. So you can see there's more for me to automate. And then the final thing you have to do with mine is go into init GUI. Where is it? There it is. And you have to add it. So I've already done that because I did it once, so I don't have to do it again. So I had to add it to the toolbar, add it to the menu. You have to import it, and that's pretty much it, I think. Yep. So and those have to match. So this has to match the file name, and these have to match the class name that's being called. Okay, and then so the final thing I do with this is create this icon. Now, so I have a little icon generator that doesn't work, but it gets me most of the way there. So I just have to work out a few things still. So this one was created with that, and you can see, I think this one no, this one wasn't. So so far I only have a couple that were created with it. I think this one I started with it and then had to add some stuff, maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, so let's look at that. So let's go back into FreeCAD. So the way that works is, and I think I'm going to load this up too, even though this is really kludgy, so it's going to be hard for you to get it to work if you don't know how to code. So let's go into up from code generators, and I think that's right, just in Sketcher related stuff. Let's do that. Okay, so it's my Sketcher icon maker. So I'm going to do Windows and Tile, and so the thing I had to add to this, and this used to work with just the import, but I think I might have added a symbolic link to get that import to work, but I can't remember. So this tells FreeCAD that where your package is, because when FreeCAD loads, it clears the Python path environment variable so that it doesn't conflict with the installed Python, because apparently FreeCAD uses its own Python. So then at this point, all you have to do, and let me back this one up, because I modified this one sometime already. Okay, so let me go into FreeCAD and let me run this. So it's going to take the selected shape, and I think I have to change. Okay, so it's active document. Oh yeah. So so naming's funny, because I used to be able to say cam shape, but now I can't. So let's see if it runs. Has no object after. So because I created it from scratch with the name cam shape, it never knew the name sketch. So that's its name and its label. So let's see if that works now. Yeah. So let me show you what that creates. It's not impressive. So there's two things that it creates. So that's what I get. And let me show you why it's not centered. So in FreeCAD, so the SVG library I use, PySVG, only works in the positive X, positive Y coordinates. So what I got to do to get more of the icon is I'll take the centering thing out, and let's move it. So it's got to be in the positive quadrant here, and let me move it. And I think also it has to be under 100 by 100. So let's change this to 70, and let's change this to 65. But so this is just for the icon creation, so it doesn't need to be anything. Make that a little longer. So yeah, so I guess it can be bigger than 100, because I think this will fit. So not quite what I had done before, but it should work. So close that, and let's go back into tile mode and run it again. And now I should have a new one in icons. Yeah, so you see it captures more of the shape now, but I still have issues with it not being. So let's go into let's open that with Inkscape, and see what we get. So that's over here. So all the lines are captured, but they're terribly out of shape. So at this point, I just modify it in Inkscape. Oh boy. I just modify it here so that, let's see if I can get it into rotate mode. There we go. So to get it the final way I want. So it still has work. And you see I'm not like super familiar with Inkscape, although I've used it a good bit. So then, well, I got those backwards. So you get the idea. So then I muck around with it until it works. But you see, you can't resize because that makes the line different. and I'm not good with Inkscape. So someone good with Inkscape might be able to do this whole thing in just seconds. But as my sketches get more complicated, I want to be able to generate a certain style, and like I want to change the line so that it looks more like the Sketcher lines, where it has, I think, white in the middle and 2 black outlines. So I'll work on that at some point. So anyway, that's let me close that without saving. So you see, I with very little effort got it to this shape. So that's it. That's my new shape for Sketcher, and I'll be uploading this code a little bit later today, and I'll have the links in GitLab. I'll have links in the description for the workbench and the generator macros, because I think it's okay to include those. But like I said, they're not going to be easy to use, and I'm probably not going to be able to answer a lot of questions. And keep in mind, my code is probably bad. I'm not a Python developer. I'm trying to learn Python and FreeCAD. So if you have comments, or suggestions, I'll take them and probably incorporate them. I'm not going to rewrite like the whole structure or anything like that. There's probably like XML or JSON ways to store this data instead of doing it in code. But I want to learn code. I don't want to learn JSON or XML. So that's my motivation. So if you like these videos, and subscribe and make sure you hit the alarm bell to get notified. If you like this specific type of video with that kind of browses code and tells you motivation for work and new work and stuff like that, let me know in the comments. So I'll see you next time. Thanks.